let's talk about something that can be completely baffling to a lot of mechanics out there and a lot of people out there looking to work on their own cars even. This is a clutch pressure plate, and it looks pretty normal. It doesn't look like anything too special, but this one is kind of unique in that it's a pull type clutch. So if you look at the fingers in here, you can see that it's kind of concave looking. So what that means is that when our throwout bearing is in place, when you push on the clutch pedal, it actually pulls out this way instead of pushing this way on these fingers in order to release the pressure plate. So what you have to do then to get the transmission out is you have to release the throwout bearing. Okay, now you'll notice this thing has there's a groove right in here, and then down inside here there's a lock ring, and this is normally clipped in like that. Okay, so if you look at it from the other side, you can see here's this lock ring. Okay, that's the ring right there. And so this thing sits like this, and when it is pulled out, it pulls on the fingers, which releases the pressure plate. Okay, so anyway, to release this thing, it's really easy. All that has to be done is this ring that's down in here has to be pushed downward. So in order to release it, if I push the throwout bearing down and I stick a screwdriver in there like that, it pops right out. So we're pushing this ring, pushing that ring down, and then pulling out on the throwout bearing. Well, that's really pretty simple, as you can see. I mean, it clips in and it pops out like a piece of cake. The problem is, of course, when you're coming undone, this is all installed in the transmission. So the way this is set up, and this is on a Mitsubishi Eclipse, which is one manufacturer that does it this way. There's others that do it this way too. If we go over here and we look at the transmission itself, okay, here's our transmission, and this is obviously we've got it out, so we can demonstrate here. But you can see we still have our old throwout bearing installed right here, and you can see if I reach over here and I pull back on our release fork, you can see how that throwout bearing comes out. But the way this is set up is that our release fork is usually in about this position right here. So our slave cylinder is mounted here, and it's going to push out this direction like this to pull back. So when that comes out, you can see it pulls back. All right, so the way you're going to find this installed in the vehicle is that release fork is in this position right here, and it's sitting right there, just like that. And what you have to do is you have to go up through this hole right here in the bottom of the transmission. It's really easy to get to when it's all installed in there. You go up through there, and that's where you pry the little screwdriver up between that ring and the throwout bearing. But the thing that you're going to want to make sure that you're doing is, first of all, don't do this as the last step. If you wait until you've got this whole transmission unbolted and then you try to release the throwout bearing, it's not going to work. It's going to be on a bind. Everything's going to be hanging up. So do not do this the last step. Before you unbolt the transmission entirely, really at any point during the removal of this transmission, you can release that throwout bearing. So you're going to stick the screwdriver up in there, and you're going to pry on that little ring like I showed you on the pressure plate. You'll notice this shift fork is spring loaded. So what will happen is as soon as you hit the magic spot and you release that throwout bearing from the pressure plate, the fork's going to pop forward like that. Okay, so if you're looking at this, if you're watching this video because you're doing this job on like a Mitsubishi Eclipse in particular, go back, bolt the transmission back in, and which shouldn't be very hard because it doesn't come out far at all with that throwout bearing still locked into the pressure plate. Bolt it back in, put your screwdriver back up in there, and as you are prying on that, grab this fork and push it this direction. Okay, give it a little push that direction, because that'll help that thing release. And then you twist with the screwdriver and then let go of it, and it should pop all the way forward. If it doesn't pop all the way forward like that, it's not released. Okay, so that's the way you know that it is released. Now let's say you've been fighting with this for 2 or 3 hours and you're getting really angry at this point, and you've had a screwdriver up in there and you've been trying to just break that release bearing because, you know, you see this tab here and you're trying to break that off. You're trying to do whatever you can, and so that release ring that's on the pressure plate is all distorted and bent out of shape. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go to the other side of the transmission. Now luckily, up here on top, there's another hole. Okay, now this hole has, it's got a little vent plug in it like this one, but it's mounted down in here. So just pry that vent plug out. You can get to it from up top once you have all the stuff up here removed anyway. Pry this out and then go down from the bottom and pop that out. And like I said, it's really simple. Okay, so that you just push on that, push that little ring down, and the throwout bearing it'll come right out. So anyway, if you haven't done this yet and you're just looking for instruction, then you're good to go. If you've been working on one of these already and you're watching this video because you're angry and you're looking for any kind of clue you can get, then do what I've told you to do, and everything's going to be just fine.